Hi, I'm Jeannie and I'm here today from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and a lot of you, if you know me, you know I love to learn and I like to teach you new things, and I don't want you to be afraid. You come across a new technique, why be afraid? Just figure it out. So what I want to show you today is something that I truly use all the time. It's called grafting, and it's the Kitchener stitch, and I was explaining to the gals before we went on camera that Lord Kitchener developed this stitch. Apparently he was a knitter or was very involved in knitting somehow, and he wanted the toes of his soldiers' socks not to rub on the top of their toe, and so he helped to invent this grafting technique which eliminates that completely. It's basically an invisible join for two live stitch pieces. So we're going to show you how to do Kitchener stitch today, and I really love it. It creates a very beautiful ending to a nice piece of knitting. The key is you have to have two sets of live stitches, the equal number on either side of your needles. I'm using double points because I primarily do this with socks, but you could do it on single points. However, you would have to make sure that the points of your needles are at the same end. So this would be your end of your single points if you were doing that. But Tiffany's going to zoom in here and we're going to do some Kitchener stitch. There are a couple of different ways you'll find it written. I learned starting with the knit stitch. We also have, we're carrying, what is that company with the Kitchener sock keychain? Oh, doggone it, I have one of those and I like that. And it's really cool. It has a little Kitchener, you know, 4-step, because all it is 4 steps. So here you'll see I have my live stitches on my needles, and I have a tail coming from the back of my work. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. We've got kind of a dark background here, but hopefully you can see that my tail is coming from the needle in the back. I am going to take this first stitch on the front needle. I feel like I do contortions here. But, and after I had threaded my tapestry needle, and I'm going to pull that snugly from, let's see, what am I saying, knit, as if to knit. So you slip your tapestry needle through that first stitch on your front needle as if to knit, slip that first stitch off, snug that up just slightly, bring your yarn down in between the tips of your two needles, then take your tapestry needle and go up through the next stitch on the front needle as if to purl. Okay? So, but we don't drop that stitch off. Now we go on the back needle, so back is purl, front is knit. So when you're purling on your front needle, though that stitch does not get dropped off, when you're knitting on your back needle, that stitch does not drop off, and it alternates each time. So now we are going to purl, put our tapestry needle through the stitch on the back needle as if to purl. So in other words, from back to front through the stitch. We will slip that stitch off our needle. Whoops, here we go. And then we're going to go through the back stitch, the second stitch on the back needle, as if to knit. Now, I do like to snug this up as I go, so I don't have a sloppy grafting. And I'm going to start to go a little quick. I've got about 10 stitches here. So the next one we do, we go through the front, and we drop that stitch off, and you notice I left the stitch that I knit, went through as if to knit on the back needle. I left that on. Now I've dropped the knit stitch off the front needle, and I'm going through, whoops, as if to purl, not as if to knit, going through the second stitch on the front needle as if to knit, as if to purl, I'm sorry, oh, brain lock and coma, as if to purl, leave that stitch on that needle, then come back around. We're going to purl on the back needle, bring our tapestry needle through, we drop that stitch off, maybe, and then snug it up, then go through on the second stitch on the back needle as if to knit. Now you notice how my yarn wants to kind of loop around this front needle. Don't let that happen. Bring that back through to the center between the two needles. Now I'm going to kind of crank on. So I've gone through as if to knit. I leave that stitch on. On the front needle I go through as if to knit, and I drop that off. And I know there's a little poem somewhere. I'd love to have somebody, give me a call and give me that poem or email it to me about doing Kitchener. Then you go through second stitch on the front needle as if to purl. Sorry, my hands got out of control. Back needle as if to knit. No. Oops. As if to purl. See, I didn't even follow my own rules. Back needle as if to purl for the first stitch. Take that stitch off. Now as if to knit. Leave that stitch on. As if to knit. Leave that stitch off. Let that stitch fall off the front needle. As if to purl on the front needle. Oh, okay, thank you. As if to purl, and leave that on there. As if to purl on the back. And that's basically how you do it. And I'm going to just show you, I did put too many stitches here, but I'm going to turn to actually get through the whole instructional. But I'm going to turn this over so you can see this lovely little join here. It makes a beautiful, you can't even see those stitches or where that was joined. So, and once you get all the way to the end with all your stitches going back and forth from front to back, you just weave in your ends and you're all done. So again, I'm Jeannie from Jimmy Beans Wool, and that's Lord Kitchener's stitch, which is a wonderful grafting technique. Have a great day, learn something new. Bye!
Thunder rumbles on this American summer night. There's kids on the corner, stuck in a switchblade fight. And the rock and roll bands play for